So Flip hit me one day. He was like, yo, somebody wants to do some art for the pod. I know you, because I've had to, bring some art, whatever. So he introduced me to him. I'm like, all right, cool. We talking. He says, I'll keep you updated as it goes on. So he finished it. He sent me the finished product. I'm like, all right, bet. He said he wanted to come up here and do it, like to present it. I don't know you. That's out. I'm like, but if you want to do because it's so dope, if you want to do some type of content shit out of it, I'll be with you somewhere and you could do the exchange with me. And then we had a date set and I wasn't in town. I forgot we was going out of town, so we missed it. And then next thing I know, he hit me, was like, yo, I talked to Joe. And I was like, oh, all right, cool. And I was out of it at that point.
All right, see, I don't know anything about any of this stuff because I don't talk to
I only talk to him because Flip.
But he did some art.
What's good, Elevators? It's your boy Elevation here with another episode of the JBP Elevated, where we speak on the Joe Budden podcast and all of his co-hosts on and off the pod. After the initial emotions wore off and the excitement from today's Patreon episode titled Rest in Ish Face, featuring Mona Love, Patreon, $10 tier, $25 tier and up. After all the excitement wore off, there was a couple of things that they said in jest, or maybe not in jest, that I wanted to go over. And I'm always talking about getting equity and points and trying to get a stake in the JBP. But after hearing this story, it makes sense why Joe nor any other business is quick to just treat people with respect and value the loyalty that they've shown the company. Anyway, Ice and Flip, we're talking about an art painting or sculpture or whatever it is. I'm not trying to disrespect the artists out there. I don't know the proper terminology. But they were speaking on a piece that not necessarily was commissioned, but was made for the Joe Budden podcast. Joe happened to be shown this piece, but he didn't know of what was going on behind the scenes with this piece. But let me speak on the story for those who weren't able to watch the episode. An artist and a fan of the JBP made a piece with all of the characters on JBP, or co-hosts, I apologize. And he reached out to Flip, who then told Ice, who was supposed to reach out to Joe to try to get the painting sold to Joe, or passed to Joe even. But instead of doing that, Ice decided, I'll speak for Joe. I'll make decisions on the behalf of the JBP. And on top of that, I'll make a side dealing with you. Supposedly, his flight got canceled, or he had something out of town, or he was on a trip or whatever. But that was very interesting to me. And I know it was very interesting to Joe too, because he was silent. And this was very new to him. He hadn't even heard of this. This was the first time he was being told any of this. And of course, the story continues and they finish it out. And the artist wanted $23,000 for the painting. And that's another video for another day on people knowing their worth and what to charge people and how to speak to people when you're trying to sell a commissioned piece. But anyway, Ice took it upon himself to get the painting and do content with the dude. So it went from he was trying to sell a piece to you getting the piece for free from him, supposedly, because this is your own words. And as a consolation prize, I would assume, he was going to do content with you? It makes me wonder what else has been going on behind the scenes when it comes to payola, when it comes to getting things commissioned, when it comes to using the likeness of the JVP. And Joe went on a rant about this, saying, y'all need to stop using the JVP outside of the JVP. And a lot of people misconstrued what he was saying. He wasn't saying don't represent the JVP. I'm saying stop promoting the JVP or getting promotions from the JVP, and it's not reciprocal. You're never bringing this shit back to me. Rory brought the MeUndies ad a long time ago, or the underwear ad, whatever the branding was. And Joe was upset because he commissioned something through the JBP. Even though he was trying to do it for the team, he spoke for Joe and made something happen as a result of the JBP. And this was him coming back with the bread, and Joe got this upset. What the fuck makes you think that you would be able to get something like this off and Joe not make a note of it in his head or in his mental? But for whatever reason, Ice gets coddled. Ice gets coddled. We don't speak on Ice. We don't speak negatively on Ice. We don't make videos pertaining to Ice. That narrative on Ice is dead because he's a good dude. Joe constantly says Ice is a good dude. He's a good dude. But when it comes to the fuck shit that I have noticed that Ice does, it's always egregious shit. Shit that you just look at your man's like, why are you operating like this? Because it reminds me of when he was getting accused of selling sleepers. And then somebody came with proof, and that story just kind of died down. But who's to say that stopped? Or when did that stop? Or did he accept that piece? And of course he's going to lie till he's purple in the face. No, I didn't do that. I didn't do that. Ice is one of them niggas that has to get caught in his lie for him to stop lying. He would have never openly admitted to opening the police for Joe until Joe himself started telling that story. I guarantee it. Ice was telling that story totally different. And he'll be the main one to say he doesn't operate like that, but Arsenal is his brother. And we all know how Arsenal raps and how he lives and how he was brought up. Y'all grew up in the same household. So you know 2 + 2 is 4, nigga. You know if the police was knocking on the door asking for Arsenal, you wouldn't open that motherfucking door. So it makes me wonder and question your motives. It makes me question your motives. And Ice is smart enough to play in Joe's face the loyal card, the friendship card, the I'll do anything for you card. But he, just with stories like this slipping out, it lets me know that he has always been able to move like this underneath Joe, picking up crumbs from Joe while speaking for Joe. He does this often, and I've made note of it when he speaks on Joe's musical takes and how Joe was thinking and what he wanted to do when it came to his musical prowess. Ice always speaks on, no, you couldn't do that, you wouldn't do that, you wouldn't do this, you wouldn't do that, you're not gonna rap again, you retired, Joe's not gonna rap, you wouldn't do that. Ice does that a lot. So if he's willing to do that to Joe's face, what the fuck deals do you think have been made on the sneak behind Joe's back? This is why you'll never hear Ice say anything pertaining to a contract on air. What the fuck I need points for on the show? I'm going to continue to eat off of Joe's plate whether he realizes it or not. But the cold part is, I think Joe already knows this. Because there's always a real nigga that has a nigga like this in their corner. Because it's best to keep the snake in your corner and have him eat at everybody else than have that snake opposed to you and you have to worry about him sniping at you. At least with these crumbs that you're getting from me, it's just crumbs. You'll never try to take a loaf of bread from me. But I did think this was very noteworthy. It is something to pay attention to. And if you run it back, you'll quickly note that when Joe or Ish or someone else does speak on what I'm speaking on, Ice quickly threw the blame to Flip. Flip didn't make that deal, brother. And Flip did a solid. He passed it off to you before trying to pass it off to Joe. He didn't have to tell you shit. So the fact that you just threw him under the bus for something as mundane as this, pay attention. You have to pay attention to people like this because you never know what their motives are. You never know what their motives are. And whatever, Ice, I'm not trying to denigrate your I'm a good man stance that you have been making and your co-hosts have been calling you out on because they know that's not how you operate in real life. I'm not trying to sully that. You have to be careful what you put out in the airways because I know Joe is taking a mental note of that, and now that this is a video and it's coming from me, he's going to hear it again. And he's going to double back. He's going to be like, damn, that motherfucker in the car is right again. Because if you look at the clip, and I'll make sure I put it in the video, notice how Imani's head turned to look to see if anybody else noticed the bullshit that just came out of Ice's mouth when he said that shit. Run it back. But hey, man, y'all been running it up. It's going to be a hot surgical summer. I keep saying that shit. It's going to be 2-day drops every day, minimum, going forward for the rest of the summer. YouTube's letting me know they want me to push my content. Y'all are letting me know y'all want to continue seeing the content, so I appreciate all the support from everywhere. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe to the page if you haven't. If you have, you already know what it is with us. Keep supporting your boy. Engage in the comment section. Let's get a discussion started. Y'all be safe out here. See you a little later. Peace.